Ulysses S. Grant is one of the most significant and most misunderstood figures in American history. In the past, Grant was often viewed as a drunk and a butcher during the Civil War, and his presidency was remembered mainly for its corruption. But over the past several decades, this view of Grant has changed. He's now seen as an extremely effective military commander, and even his presidency is seen as far more consequential than it was given credit for in the past. I've written 2 books about Grant myself, and so in this video, I'd like to share 5 essential books for better understanding Ulysses S. Grant. Let's start with the most popular single-volume biography of the general and president. Many readers might learn about Grant for the first time by reading Ron Chernow's excellent biography of the United States general. Currently, our most successful biographer, Chernow is a fine writer who presents a sensible and balanced view of Grant. As a master storyteller, Chernow recognizes the epic nature of Grant's life. Born on the frontier, along the Ohio River, Grant attended West Point, served in the Mexican War, but was later forced out of the Army. He received redemption during the Civil War, eventually becoming president for 2 terms. According to Chernow, Grant did not crumble in adversity, which only hardened his determination, and knew that setbacks often contained the seeds of their own reversals. The most dangerous situations brought out his indomitable will. One of the great strengths of Chernow's biography is his serious attention to Grant's post-war career. Chernow believes Grant's presidency has been ignored or unfairly treated by historians and makes a strong case that President Grant played an integral role in defending civil rights of the freed people. The discussion of Amos T. Ackerman, Grant's Attorney General, is noteworthy. Under Ackerman's leadership, federal grand juries brought 3,384 indictments against the Ku Klux Klan, resulting in 1,143 convictions. Chernow credits the Grant administration with defeating the worst outbreak of domestic terrorism in American history. The next book is the personal memoirs of Ulysses S. Grant. Grant's memoirs might be the finest that have ever been written by a president. One historian, who has been critical of Grant, said of the memoirs, "There is a conciseness, totality, and strength, but what is perhaps the most striking is the timeless quality of the prose. It has classical force." A poet has described Grant's writing as fatless prose. Upon taking command of the Union Army, Grant wrote General Meade, "Lee's army will be your objective point. Wherever Lee goes, there you will go also." The writing here is remarkable for its clarity. In fact, the writing was so good that some people thought that Mark Twain wrote the memoirs. These memoirs do have flaws, however. Grant was suffering from throat cancer while writing them, and often put together rushed accounts, especially of some of the later battles. His account of the Battle of the Wilderness, for example, is hazy and somewhat inaccurate. Nevertheless, the memoirs are essential reading. The recent edition of Grant's memoirs from the team at the Grant Library at Mississippi State is now the gold standard. Every Grant enthusiast should own this particular edition. The third essential book is Ulysses S. Grant, His Life and Character by Hamlin Garland. Garland was a popular 19th century writer who wrote this 1-volume account of Grant's life. The book was based on extensive interviews with soldiers and family members who knew Grant well. These interviews, conducted many years after the events in question, are handled carefully by Garland, Anyone who wants to study Grant seriously should read Garland's biography, especially since this is probably the best account we have by someone who knew people who actually knew Grant. The fourth book is Captain Sam Grant by Lloyd Lewis. This is the best account of Grant's early life, covering his youth and pre-Civil War Army career. There's also excellent material here on Grant's father, Jesse Root Grant. This outstanding narrative concludes with Colonel Grant taking command of his regiment in 1861. Lloyd Lewis is both a fine writer and a meticulous researcher. Here, we learn about Grant's grades at West Point. They were better than you might think, and his activities during the Mexican War, among other often unexplored areas. Lewis is especially strong on Grant's time in Galena, Illinois. Finally, the fifth essential book is Klan War, Ulysses S. Grant and the Battle to Save Reconstruction by Fergus Bordewick. Bordewick offers a welcome reappraisal of President Grant's role in bringing down the Ku Klux Klan. Grant's presidency was often noted for its corruption, especially during the second term. But Bordewick shows that Grant sincerely cared about civil rights for the freed people of the former Confederate states and used his newly created Justice Department to uphold the law. He notes that this fight against the Klan sheds a stark light on the most violent period in American history, on the murderous potential of unrestrained racism, and on the courageous determination of public officials and ordinary citizens, newly enfranchised African Americans in particular, to protect the freedoms enshrined in the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. Together, these books show that Ulysses S. Grant wasn't just a fine military commander, but he was also a key figure in shaping the United States during Reconstruction and the expansion of the American West. If you're interested in learning how the Grant presidency connects to key conflicts like that related to the Black Hills out west, then the American Discovery Channel is a good place for you. I'm John Reeves. Thank you for listening, and be sure to subscribe for more content on the American West. Thank you.